injuries is certainly the highlight of the year for Newcastle United at the moment. I've seen many fans basically saying they can't wait for this season to end. Let's just end it now, regroup in the summer and come back again next season. Obviously, the news of Joe Linton is shocking, really. Once again, reports first saying he's going to be out for 6 weeks. Now he's out for the season. And leaves a massive, massive hole in our midfield. So surely Newcastle United will want to do something in the transfer window, even if it's just a loan deal. We have to fill that position. It's as simple as that. We can't go for the rest of the season with the midfield that we have when, we're still waiting for Willock coming back, Harvey Barnes, etc. We are down to the very, very bare bones. Joe White has just been recalled from Crewe Alexandra because of the injury crisis. He's now training with the first team. So, he may have to play games. We've got Bruno, who is probably going to get a 2-game suspension in the near future because of yellow cards. So we are right down to the very, very bare bones. And, there's really nothing going on in the transfer window to try and see if we're going to replace Joe Linton or try and bring anybody else in that position. We've got Tonali suspended. We've got some very, very good players already at the club, but we can't put them on the bloody field. And that is becoming a major worry at Newcastle United right now. The FFP restrictions are there. We can't do anything about that. But surely there is a way that Newcastle United can bring in at least a couple of loan deals. They've got to work very, very hard now during this window, or what's left of the window, to try and bring somebody else in. Now, one man that is linked with Newcastle United quite heavily this morning is once again Serhou Guirassy, the striker. He's got 17 goals this season, and his release clause could be as low as 15 million quid. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, is it just a swan song this season? Is it a purple patch this season he's going through? Maybe. But let's say we spend the £15 million on Guirassy, and he comes in and does brilliantly for the rest of the season. Have we really got anything to lose when a striker who's bang on form is scoring goals for fun this season and has a release clause as little as 15 million quid? Go and get him. Go and do something. And Calvin Phillips now looks like he's off to Crystal Palace, so we've lost out on that one as well. So frustration is definitely kicking in here. But if we're frustrated as fans, you can bet your bottom dollar that the Eddie Howe, Dan Ashworth, etc. are also going to be very, very frustrated with what's going on at the minute. Because we're in limbo right now as to what we can do. We as fans are waiting for the club to make a move, but the club can't make a move because of FFP. But Simon Jordan made a good point on TalkSport yesterday, and he knows his stuff. Whatever you think of Simon Jordan, he does know his stuff. And he thinks that Newcastle should have 50 to 60 million pounds available this month. Now, if that's the case, go and get Guirassy. We need a striker. We need somebody who's going to come in and hit the ground running. Guirassy is doing that this season. It may take him a couple of games to get used to the Premier League, but, the guy is hot on goals this season, and that's what we need. Callum Wilson, his comeback date, nobody knows. So at the minute, we've got Alexander Isak moving forward. Now, this 2-week break that we have may well be a very, very good thing for some of the injured players. Or so we think. But the news coming out in Newcastle United is that these players who are injured aren't expected back anytime soon. So we've got to make a move in the transfer window. Whether it's just loan deals or whatever, we have to make a move to do something in this window to cover for our injuries. As frustrating as FFP is, we've got to go and get somebody. And we have to bring in quality, obviously. It can't be just any old willy-nilly player. It has to be somebody who's going to offer quality to what we've already got, obviously. But it's an interesting one on Guirassy. And, if I was Newcastle Iraqi, I'd go and get him. Because 15 million quid these days for a striker is nothing, guys. It really is nothing. We have nothing to lose going to get him for the rest of the season. At least that's my opinion as a supporter. It may well be very different behind the scenes at Newcastle. But certainly at the moment, looking from the outside in, we've got nothing to lose going to spend £15 million on a player who's red hot this season. Now, speaking of another striker, Alexander Isak, Rio Ferdinand's been making his gob go again and has urged Arsenal to go and sign Isak in this window. Now, I don't know where he's looking at here or what in his right mind thinks that Newcastle United will be even interested in the slightest of selling Alexander Isak in this window. There is no way in hell. Because I don't care. He mentions due to FFP constraints, Newcastle United would maybe look at the deal. Not a chance. Not when we've only got one fit striker as it is, which is him. You know, I know he's an asset and I know he would bring in a lot of money. But Rio Ferdinand's talking about 50-odd million quid for him. We spent 60. What in the crazy world of football does he think that Newcastle United would look at Isak and say, yeah, take him for 53. We paid 60. We'll lose a few million on him. Even though right now, I would say Isak is probably worth 80, 90 million in today's market. Without a shadow of a doubt. So I don't know where Ferdinand's coming from and urging Arsenal to go out and sign him. Sod off. Just sod off. You know, we don't need people like Rio Ferdinand trying to make further trouble for, mentioning our players. He's got no right to do that. Saying Arsenal should go and sign Isak. What a load of bollocks. So, in his right mind, Newcastle United would not... Yes, we need money right now. Of course we do. But in no world does selling Isak make any sense to anybody. So, Ferdinand, please just close your gob. Just stop entertaining anything to do with Newcastle. Now, an interesting interview has come out with Bruno and Joe Linton, of course, very recently. And Bruno mentioned a very interesting... he was asked a very interesting question, I should say, about if there was another Brazilian to come to Newcastle United, who would you fancy? And Bruno turned around and said, Paqueta. Now, Paqueta is probably valued around 50-odd million pounds at the moment. So Bruno even admitted that bringing him in this transfer window is completely, not going to happen. But I was thinking when he mentioned that in the interview, and I'm saying, if there's a way we can keep Bruno at Newcastle United, Paqueta coming in would be incredible. Would that give Bruno the desire to stay and play with his best mates, Joe Linton and Paqueta, in Newcastle's midfield? Can you imagine those three? A midfield of Bruno, Joe Linton and Paqueta. That would be up there with any midfield in the Premier League for me, without a shadow of a doubt. But of course, these are the constraints that we're under, and I think Bruno would certainly stay at Newcastle United if we were to go and get Paqueta. There's no doubt about it. And Bruno coming out and actually saying that he would love Paqueta to come to Newcastle. Because, players talk, we know that, and the fact is that they're best mates. So you just never know, do you? Will Bruno have been mentioned in Newcastle to Paqueta for a future move? Playing at West Ham now, doing really well at West Ham. Took him a while, I think, to get going at West Ham, but now he's up and running. And if he gets used to the Premier League at West Ham and then comes into Newcastle to play alongside Bruno and Joe Linton, I think that would be absolutely incredible. I really do. Let me know in the comments what you would think of Paqueta coming in. I'm not talking about this month by any stretch of the imagination, guys. This month is very, very... the constraints are there for everybody to see. So players coming in this month, certainly not for 50-odd million quid in Paqueta, but maybe in the future. Now, Joe Linton, of course, is out for the season. This news yesterday was crippling for me. I mean, Joe Linton, as people know, is one of my favourite players now. And I think we need him in our midfield. We need his drive. We need his determination. We need everything that Joe Linton offers. And it looks like we're not going to see that for the rest of the season. It's a massive blow to Newcastle United. And as I said earlier, Joe White, of course, recalled from his loan at Crewe Alexandra. Eddie Howe has spoken very, very highly of him. Said that he wanted him to go to Crewe Alexandra and work on a few things. Eddie feels like he's done that and he's ready to come into the first team setup. Now, look, as I said, Bruno could be facing a 2-game ban shortly because of yellow cards. It puts us in a hell of a state for midfielders. So maybe Joe White might get some first team action. I don't know. But, what is going on, man, with the injuries? Why did Joe Linton come out for the second half against Sunderland? That's what I don't understand. And that's what I keep asking myself. And, when I read reports of, Botman playing on with an ACL injury, Joe Linton coming on, Anthony Gordon coming on for the second half at Chelsea, when they were clearly not fit. Why are these players being allowed to come back on the field when they're injured? Joe Linton lasted, 6 minutes in the second half? Clearly injured. No way could he continue. And now it looks like he's out for the season. Is the fact that we're putting these players in further jeopardy by putting them back on the pitch when they're injured? is leading to longer term injuries. It's mental, man. And questions I'm sure have to be asked this summer regarding the medical department. They really do. Now, finally, Jose Mourinho has been sacked at Roma, not had the best of times of late, and is now a free agent on the managerial market. So, of course, lots of people are putting 2 and 2 together. Some are getting 5, some are getting 9, whatever you want to say. There's no way I think Jose Mourinho comes to Newcastle. Not now. I think there was an opportunity a few years back, but not now. Yes, he speaks very highly of Sir Bobby Robson, and everybody had that dream of Jose Mourinho coming in and finishing off what Sir Bobby wanted to do and wanted to finish at Newcastle United, winning trophies and things like that. There's a lot of people, a lot of fans actually from Newcastle United putting on social media that they would love to see Mourinho coming in. Some are saying no chance, Eddie Howe is the man. Where do you stand on it? I mean, where is you as a fan right now with Jose Mourinho available? Would you pull the trigger and get rid of Eddie Howe and bring in Jose Mourinho? Would he do any better given the circumstances that Eddie's got? I'm not so sure he would. I'm not so sure at all that he would. Is Mourinho really, at his stage in his career, has he got more to offer? Has he got more to win? I don't know. But right now, would you replace Eddie Howe with Jose Mourinho? For me, not a chance in hell. Eddie's made mistakes, yes, but every manager makes mistakes. But can Jose Mourinho honestly do the same job that Eddie, or do a better job than what Eddie's doing, given what Eddie's got available? I'm not so sure. But I'm very interested to know what you guys think about this. Would you do that now? Would you get rid of Eddie Howe and bring in Jose Mourinho now he's available? Let me know. I'm really intrigued to find out. But there you go, guys. That is some of the news today. Obviously, I'm sorry I can't bring you better news of any players coming in at the moment, but it is very quiet on the Western Front on that one. But hopefully, with the news of Joe Linton being injured probably for the rest of the season now, Newcastle will make a move, and very soon, to try and bring a couple of players in. We simply have to. We can't go with a threadbare squad now for the rest of the season because, we'll only head one way, and that's certainly not up. We'll be mid-table or bottom half of the table, and it'd be a very, very disappointing season in the end. But let me know. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, as usual, please give it the thumbs up. Very, very important to the channel that we keep those coming in. And, of course, if you're new, please do subscribe. Come and be part of this amazing community right here on the Toon Review. Hit the notification bell as well, which will also let you know when we schedule in our live shows or we upload any recordings, such as this one. You can also donate to the channel while we're not on air. There's a super thanks button just underneath the video if you want to donate that way. So thank you in advance for that. But thank you for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure. Take care.